Well, hello TikTok, hello Facebook, Pleiadian Angelic Rainbow Orbs page. Yeah, I'd like to invite everybody to tune in tomorrow, both on TikTok, YouTube, probably be on X. Myself and my co-host Carolyn Lanier Roberts will be doing our weekly show, Conscious Conversations with Carolyn and Larry. We're going to talk about some emotional healing tomorrow, but that'll be at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 o'clock Mountain, 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock on the East Coast, 8 hours from then, 5 o'clock out on the UK. So I'd like to talk a little bit about scams. Of course, we all know about the internet scams, Facebook scams, people from Ghana. The thing that puzzles me is why they have no creativity about how they do it. I mean, on Facebook, for instance, it's usually a female's profile, somebody really skinny, it looks like a model. They've got, one or two pictures of themselves, and that's all that's on their timeline, right? And then it's all dudes as friends. They don't even take the initiative to put on, some kind of article. They could do a post, they could do some kind of a post and get some game to them, man. I don't really give a fuck about them making $1 and ripping some stupid motherfucker off, you know what I mean? I don't, but what I don't understand is why they don't have any game with it, right? And then I've also noticed, like on Instagram, I don't know if I've really ran into it on TikTok. I don't think so. But on Instagram, I've ran into this thing because I do this thing where with my posts, I'll put different cities, as the location. I'll put, Bangor, Maine, Los Angeles, California, London, England, Chicago, Miami, Detroit, you name it, Houston, Dallas, right? You get the gist, okay? Well, then I do that now sometimes just to see if I can get somebody to give me the same message. It's the same generic fucking message with no creativity. It's some kind of a marketing agency that wants to help me out, of course, right? They want to market me, and it'll say, well, send me this. It's like, motherfucker, why would I send it to you? You can copy and paste it. Why would I send it to you? Oh yeah, well, send me this link here. You're in the link talking about it. But you'll get that. If you notice that, do that once in a while. Try, if you're on Instagram, make a post and, just tag a random city, one of the major metropolitan areas in the United States, over 1 million people or whatever, right? You'll get, chances are you'll get somebody that wants to market your stuff. But they'll want you to send them the link that they're already in, right? Like, fuck, dude, and then the same thing. You can go to Chicago, it'll happen. Miami, same thing. You go to Miami, it'll be the same thing. Send me the link. Yeah, so last time it happened to me, I said, look, partner, I'm not trying to ruin your fucking hustle. I'm not trying to ruin your scam. I understand, man, you gotta eat, you gotta make a buck, but dude, don't fucking insult my intelligence with that shit and tell me that. I mean, oh yeah, send me your, have the foresight to realize that other motherfuckers are saying the same thing, right? They're saying the same thing, and you use your words a little different, like send it to me, send me that. But there are a lot of gullible people out there too, is the thing. People are still falling for these scams like, oh, I'm going to send you a $5,000 check. It needs to clear. You can draw out $1,500 right away, but I got to wait for the rest to clear, right? Or they'll be like, they'll string somebody along, like a single female, older female. They'll string them along forever and ever and ever. Like, oh, I need this money for that. My grandmother's in the hospital. My dog lost a tooth or chipped a tooth. And I'll tell people right away, I sometimes when I'm bored, I will answer, with one of my pages or whatever. I'll answer somebody and I'll say, first of all, let me tell you something right now. I mean, I'm not prejudging you, but I see that, you look a little suspicious, look a little shady. One guy messaged me and actually admitted he was from Ghana. It said Ghana on the phone number. I'm like, fuck, dude, come on, man. Even if you were legit, there's no way. You understand how stupid this looks, right? I'll say, I'm going to tell you right now, are you willing to make a donation to my show? Are you willing to make a donation to one of my pages? Is that what you're here for? This is wonderful, because I can tell you where you can send that account. I can send you, I'll give you my Cash App address and my PayPal address, and you can go ahead and send me some money. And they're like, no, I'm looking for money. I'm hungry. I need to. I said, you're messaging somebody in America? I said, homeboy, we're broke over here, yo. This ain't the 1970s swinging economy anymore, man. That shit's been dead over here for 40 years, homie. Dude, Americans ain't got any money, and those people you're scamming, dude, you're getting like the last dollar out of them, man. I mean, so, the karma that you're incurring is fucking crazy, right? terribly crazy. So, yeah, I mean, but I went along with him one time. One time I said to this guy, I said, I'll tell you what. After I gave him the whole fucking read him the riot act, right, for all that, I said, okay, I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what, I'm American. I know how to fucking work these people. I know how to work a hustle. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I will give you some advice of a lifetime on how to scam some Americans but you got to show me that you're not fucking, you're not Mary Ann from, Houston, Texas, right? You show me who you are, show me where you live, show me your surroundings in your house. And so all of a sudden I see a black guy appear with a big old fucking smile on his face, and he's all showing me around his place, and I'm like, well, that's certainly wonderful. Okay, what a dumb fuck you are, right? I should get Interpol in on this. But they don't. But I think what kills me about the whole thing, because of the way I have a sarcastic, analytical mind, is it ain't the scamming of people. I mean, fine, you know what I mean? Hey, man, God bless America, right? But it's the uncreativity that they have. I mean, I would at least put up a few posts, find some generic news to talk about, post, political, social, whatever the fuck it might be, right? Put it on your timeline and have a mix of friends, not just all dudes, right? Yeah, at least that's what I would do. I had another girl one time. Oh, she's from Dallas, Texas. She was from Dallas, Texas. Oh, I said, oh, you a Cowboys fan? She said, oh, yeah, my parents have had season tickets. Oh, really? So I started giving her, this was 10 years ago, keep in mind, right? So I started giving her the rundown. I said, oh, man, what about, remember Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin? So your parents are close to the team, huh? Yeah, her parents apparently had box seats, she said, and, knew some of the, made the mistake of telling me that they knew some of the team members. I said, oh, really? Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Tony Romo. I went down the fucking list if you know Cowboys history. Roger, remember Roger Staubach? He was great. Tony Dorsett, Emmett Smith. I went down the whole fucking laundry list. Oh, yeah. And, you could tell, oh, yeah, well, do you remember, I was asking her about the soup, because she said they were real familiar. I said, oh, yeah, what about the 3 Super Bowls in the 90s? You remember which one of those were? And no, they didn't fucking know. They don't do any research. If you dig at these people a little bit, you'll find out. But I didn't need to do that anyway. I was just having a little fun with them, right? Just to make them squirm a little bit. And of course, it was a black guy from Ghana, or fucking Arundi, Burundi, or war-torn Angola, or my Aunt Ola's, either one. You know what I mean? So, but people are still falling for this shit, and then they get strung along. Oh, well, one person I know, their man was working out on an oil rig, right, out in the Middle East, and he was off duty somewhere, and he couldn't get his check cashed. Oh, because it's an American check, and they won't give. Oh, he couldn't get his bank statement either, because she needed a bank statement for something she was going to do over here for him. No, he couldn't get his bank statement. He couldn't get it. They couldn't print out a bank statement for him. They had to wait at least 3 to 5 days. She bought it hook, line, and sinker. When anywhere you are in the fucking world now in 2025, you can get that shit right away, okay? I mean, this isn't 1925, right, at a bank somewhere in Arundi, Burundi. So, people are still falling for it, and it just kills me that they don't have any creativity, these scammers. I think that's what gets me the most. There's no creativity among them, and people still fall for this shit. Oh, here's a $5,000 check. $1,500. Yeah, you can take out. Guess what? You're gonna have to pay that back, partner. And I was talking to somebody earlier tonight, right? And her daughter's friend not too long ago fell for that shit. There is no free fucking ride like that, man. Or they get some, it used to be, when I was growing up, there would be these chain letters you would get, or not chain letters, excuse me, letters from like Kenya, that would say the same thing, if you do this, send me, we've got a big business venture for you, and we'll mail you this check, you cash it, you can take out this much money, but you gotta send the rest to us. Yeah, same fucking thing, man, same thing. In a way, right? But people fell for this shit. Like there was a free ride, or even so far as to looking into a magazine. Or they get this thing in the mail. My grandmother got one time. cheap cruise, only $69, and you could be the one to take a $600 cruise for $69. But what they didn't tell you was it was probably only like at a certain time of the year for a month, for a week, and it was in the closet that you got to stay aboard the ship, right? And you had to pay for all your meals. Now, the people want to believe that, though. People are so quick to want to believe it, and I can't for the life of me understand why. I can't understand why they would want to, and why would they want to take advantage of something like that? And anyway, you know what I mean? And they think that they would be the lucky one to get that, right? Shit doesn't work. When it's too good to be true, it usually is. Of course there are exceptions, but not very often, right? And usually there's a reason why it was that way it was if it did work for you. So people have been falling for it since the dawn of time. Pyramid scheme, same thing with Amway, right? Everybody remember Amway that's a little bit older? I've known a lot of morons who have gotten into that. A lot of morons. Oh, well, you know what? I'll tell you where Amway would make you some serious money. If you were already wealthy, and you already had a lot of connections already, right? And a lot of friends that had money, then yeah, it could help you make a little bit more money for sure in that scenario, right? In a scenario where you absolutely did not even need it. Yeah, it could help you out. But a pyramid scheme, it runs out after, I forget, I should have done the research and checked in on exactly how quick it runs out of people. You run out of people so quick because the idea is you have to have people under you, right? You're doing all this work and the person above you, they get the fruits of your labor, right? But then you've got to get other people to sign up for it under you, right? And you get the fruits of theirs, but then they got to keep going and they got to keep going and they got to keep going and all that other bullshit, right? So it runs out real quick, but it sounds good. And Amway's products, I've seen some of their dish soap and all that bullshit. It's okay. It's okay, but yeah, you're not going to be, unless you already have the money to be a big time distributor, you're not going to make any money off it just by being Joe Blow. And if you do, God love you. God bless America. God bless America if you made a killing off of it. Really. That's what I say. God bless America. If you can work that hustle and work it well, God bless you. But the thing is, it runs out. You know what I mean? You are getting a piece of the pie, but you're promising somebody below you that they can get a piece of the pie, just like you have, by getting other people to join it. But you're going to run out of people at some point, right? So pyramid schemes don't work. It's kind of like trickle-down economics. It's the worst economic plan there is, only because of human greed in that case, though. Trickle-down economics is a bad system because of human greed. Right? That's what it is. Let's face it, you're wealthy and you want more of a tax break, but you don't want to pay your fair share of taxes is what it comes down to. When too much is given, much should be expected, man. So these tax cuts, they're ridiculous too, but that's a whole other story. The trickle down shit doesn't work like that because you're dealing with greed. And so it's just not the way to go, man. But the pyramid schemes, they're still around, I'm sure. I don't see them as much. I wouldn't say that scams have gotten any more sophisticated because they've actually gotten lamer. But there are still people that are dealing with them. In fact, I have a lady friend I talk to all the time. Yep, now she's got a friend of hers that's been strung along for months now. And then it was one guy, then she went to another. Okay, so this one guy was a foreman on an oil well in the Middle East, right? And then the next guy was a military doctor over somewhere, in Europe, right? Stationed there for the U.S. military. Okay, so, but he's always having trouble. They won't take his credit card. He needs money. Somebody's in the hospital. And his excuses keep getting more. I keep waiting to hear from her what the next one's going to be, right? What the next thing is going to be that this guy's trying to scam this lady out of. I worked with a lady for a couple of years back. She kept wanting to borrow money, and I was good. I was giving it to her, right? And see, I thought it got weird because I thought she was buying dope with it, right? I thought, okay, she's got a little bit of issue. She needs something to get her through the night, whatever. Okay. Fine, but what I found out was, I'm like, it was even worse than that, because I don't care, you need your dope, whatever, I'm not judging, but what I found out is that she was giving this money to somebody from Ghana, Yeah, they kept, and she was real insistent about it, man. She was always real insistent and she was like a normal, good working lady, but she kept insisting I loan her some money, and then I did, and I did, and I did, and time again, right? Well, she got in a little bit of trouble at work for it, and I got paid back for it, but it wasn't me that complained about her. Other people had complained too because she was asking them all of a sudden. And I thought, God, surely, oh, this poor girl, we need to get her some help. We need to, an intervention, right? Maybe get, see about rehab or whatever. But no, unfortunately, it wasn't that. It was something fucking really lame and stupid that you can't help anybody with. Being scammed by somebody from Zimbabwe or somewhere, right? And her husband was really sick at the time too. And I couldn't understand it, but it's weird how the human mind works like that, and these are the kind of people though that for anything legit usually, I mean, you couldn't get them to donate a penny to, right? But they're gonna take somebody over who lives God knows where, right, in the fucking war-torn Angola, right, and help them out, right? And so I always remind these people that do that I run into that are trying to friend request me, a good looking girl with no, one friend, or maybe one friend in common, and she's got all dudes as friends. I'm like, fuck, girl, you look so fucking fake that you look ugly. I mean, give me a break. Plus, not only that, I know you're from Ghana. Don't lie to me, you're from Ghana. And this one would comment on different posts and shit, and I'd say, hi, how's Ghana today? How are you doing in Ghana? How's the weather there? And and they tell me the same thing in a private message. They'd send this private message me and say, oh, you're being rude. And I said, well, you're being a fucking punk and a liar, man. But it's not that I'm doing it. I want people to understand it's not that I do that because I care that anybody's getting ripped off by them, because they're, hey, fuck, man, you can make your money however you make it, yo. But it's because I just, that they have the nerve to try it, right? And that they don't have any skills. I think I'd be less apt to tear into them if they had some skill, right? And I would at least have a mix of friends. They would at least have a mantra or current subject matter that they talked about, a consistent one, I mean, right? But they don't. They don't. They just don't. And it's the same thing. It's a script. So it's got to be a farming system of them. They're taught, it's almost maybe like they go to a seminar for a week, or they, take some correspondence classes on how to do it over where they're from. And they're working for somebody higher up. But man, this place that this guy was living in, he showed me, the one time I got that dude to show me some stuff on camera. Well, there have been other times, but this one time, man, I mean, he had a really nice pad, or at least he was staying at one anyway. So, I mean, a lot nicer than most Americans do by a long shot. Right? And the majority of Americans anyway. So, who knows? But hey, God bless America, right? If they can get somebody to donate $1 to them, good. I mean, they'd be like me messaging you and saying, hey, I want to fuck you over. Would you donate, go ahead and, donate $10 to me for nothing, or donate $100 to me for nothing, right? But I need it for bullshit, right? And so it would be like that. It's like that. It's like that stupid, right? It's like this guy the other night messaged into my Rainbow Orbs page on Facebook, on the WhatsApp feature to send in photographs and shit like that. And he's all, he was from Slovakia, or he claimed he was from the Ukraine, or he had a weird name like that. He was from somewhere up, in the Eastern Europe. I'm an American, one of those new countries that keeps springing up over there, right? I'm kidding, but not a new country. But he said he needed $6,000 for his farming equipment. He needed $6,000 because he was wondering if I could get him $6,000 for his. I mean, and I had to give the guy his props. At least he came right out and didn't fuck around and beat around the bush and said it straight up to me. That he needed. So I thought about it for a second. I said, you know what? I'll get right on it. I said, I'll tell you what. Here's what you do. I'm going to hook you up. I said, my cousin Leroy, he's going to hook you up because I'm too busy. He's going to hook you up. He's about a block and a half from where you're at, no more than a kilometer. The first corner from where you live, you need to go around it. What you're going to find is you're going to see a broke down Torino on the side of the road with only one wheel on it. That's my cousin, my cousin Leroy's in there, okay? Now, I want you to go up there, and you'll know it's his Torino because it'll say rib tips on it, spray painted. I got that from the movie Vacation anyway. You know, that. And I said, I want you to go in there, and I want you to tell him that you're my boy, and that he needs to hook you up, and he'll take really good care of you. You know, so his name is Leroy. He's in a Torino. I don't know where the first corner is from your house, but you're going to want to turn around that corner, and it's not even a kilometer away, right? And you're going to go knock on the door. And I got to tell you another thing, so it doesn't surprise you about old Leroy. Leroy didn't have any arms. Okay, he doesn't have any arms, so it's going to be a little bit weird when you deal with him. And he should be wearing a big feathered hat, and he'll have like a tan overcoat on. Okay, and he'll have some cubic zirconium rings on his finger. Yeah, don't ask him about his ring, or I mean, not on his finger. He'll have them hanging up because he doesn't have any hands anymore. He'll have them hanging up on his rear view mirror. So you'll know it's him. That it'd probably be the only broke down Torino in the area. Not that they have Torinos over there, but yeah. And I said it's a 1976 model, so you can't miss it. Yeah, go down there and he's going to help you out. He'll hook you up right away. Yeah, so you can have a little fun with these people, you know, if you're bored once in a while, right? Just the way to do it, man. You know, it's and it's not them, because without the people that are willing to go along with it, you know, they wouldn't exist. So you can't blame them. You can't blame somebody for, okay, put it to you this way. If you were to beg and beg and beg and beg and beg and beg and beg me to fuck you over, I wouldn't want to do it. But if you kept begging me and begging me and begging me, oh, please, please screw me over and take everything from me. Please, please. You know, eventually, you know, I might even succumb to that and be like, okay, all right, fine. Okay, dude, no problem. Here, yeah, let's keep the scam going. But yeah, it is a mind bender, and there's no creativity. Like I said, the last one that set me off, again, was this one on Instagram where people will message you. And I don't know that I've ever had it on TikTok. I want to say maybe I have. I don't know. I'm on every social media platform because of my brand and shit, and I don't like it, but it's what it is, all right? But yeah, I'd like to, hey, I'm with such and such marketing company. I can, you know, we can do this for this amount of money and this and this. And I'm like, dude, save it. Save it. I'm not trying to fuck with your hustle, homie, you know, but, you know, I'm not down with it. And it's little things, right? It's little things that do it in. You know, now if I was wealthy, one of these people one time, I might be willing to fuck if I didn't need it, send them a donation. These people that are on Instagram, right? You know, hey, here you go. Here's $20, right? But what does it for me is that they want me to, you know, to send them, you know, they'll comment on the post. They'll like it, first of all. And then they'll comment, oh, that's really neat. Why don't you send me this? Why don't I send you that? In the time you asked me to send it to you, you could have sent it to yourself. You know what I mean? They don't have any game like, oh, send it to me, though. I'm here, but send it to me. Yeah, here, I want to drive me to your house. Why am I already at your house? Hey, why don't you take me to your house? You know, it's kind of like saying that to somebody. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you know, the first time I knew it was a fucking scam, but I did it anyway, man. I did it anyway just to see what he was going to do. And then, of course, right on cue. We can do this for you, that for you, that for you. I said, oh, well, can you do it for me for, you know, can you do it for free on, you know, on a contingency? And then they started just like it's like a AI, you know, right back in on the same mantra about what they could do for me. Didn't even really answer the question. Well, you know, so that's it. And you just have to tell those people that, you know, hey, man, I ain't here to fuck up your scam, but I ain't the one, man. I ain't the one. And good luck. And my advice would be to get a little bit better game, because every single city, somebody from every single city that's part of your network is trying the same thing, and you know it. You gave the same script. But little do you know that for the hell of it, I'll tag certain places. I'm funny like that. I'll find I live out here on the Oregon coast, and I'll find some obscure fucking liquor store in like Tupelo, Mississippi, right? Earl's Liquor, right? And I'll tag Earl's Liquor as the location. So I do this with all kinds of little businesses around, right? Or I'll tag a bigger city in it as the location, just to be funny, you know, Yellow's Liquor Store in, you know, Pineville, Arkansas, or some shit, you know? So that's kind of the thing. But, yeah. Oh, I'll help you do this, or I'll help you market this. Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, I can post shit myself, right? You know. Also, here's another thing, the Bitcoin, right? We all know the Bitcoin scammers, right? Oh, yeah, well, Are you interested in Bitcoin? Then they lead into it. And I start by saying, that's the first thing I tell anybody new that I meet. I said, I'm not into Bitcoin. I said, I'll tell you what, though, if you really want to make some money, and I'm serious about this, I've never had anybody take me up on this. I said, I'll tell you what I'll do one time, though, if you do need a few extra bucks. I said, why don't you send me $10 on PayPal or Cash App, and I'll send you 15 back one time. No, never. Dude, and these people are so stupid, they won't even, really, they're not willing to give up $10 one time just to take a chance. So why should you? You know what I mean? And time again, I've probably offered that, I don't know, man, I don't know, 14 to 15 times over the years to do that for them. Yeah, send me, show you're legit, and what do you got to lose? It's only $10. You want to make a little extra money, do that. There's $5 for you for 20 seconds worth of work, homie. Nah, fuck no, they don't. So that's it, and it's it, and that's that, and that's what they do. And I used to have a problem where I would get mad, I get kind of angry about it. It's like, fuck, they're scamming people and all that. But then I realized that, yeah, well, they wouldn't do that if there wasn't a market for it. And the thing is, I can't even get mad at them because their game is so lame, man. Their game is so lame. There's no thought process to it at all. And these women get sucked in by it, and they keep getting strung along in every excuse in the book, and well this or well that, or I mean, but it is what it is. It's comical. I'll tell you that much. Real life can be as comical as anything you'd see on TV. Funnier than hell, man. Oh, but this, well, he, his check didn't come in, and gosh, he had to pay for his grandmother to go get her, her gold tooth fucking fixed or whatever, her one gold tooth implanted into her, he should try something like, calling himself MC One Tooth with one tooth in his mouth, right? And go around and offer old ladies to say that he's willing to, he loves them so much, he's willing to pull his one tooth out and give it to them. It'll hurt his act because he's MC One Tooth, but now he's going to have to be DJ No Tooth without it if he gives it up. But, I've created this fake character years ago to mess with people, just to kind of screw with friends of mine, called MC One Tooth. Right, he had one fucking tooth in his mouth. I got a picture of a guy with a gold chain and one tooth. And, this lady thought he was really nice and that was really, really lovely about him. And she was really, bragging about how this sweet young man offered to pull out his one tooth for her and give it to her so she could put it in her mouth so she could eat if she didn't have any teeth. Right, he'd pull out his one tooth, right? Same thing. People go for it, though, and they thought, no, he's such a nice young man. And yeah, the one other character I created one time was this guy, Old Tex. Old Tex, this is about 10 years ago. Yeah, well, Old Tex was a picture of a guy with a cowboy hat on, middle-aged looking man, beer gut, standing out by the farm. And I had him come into groups and, tell people that he'd be really, really glad. He don't mind if any of the ladies would like to come and stay with him and wash his windows, wash the corns on his feet after a hard day's work, because Old Tex could sure use it. Old Tex don't mind the more the merrier. Old Tex don't mind. Old Tex got plenty of chores for you to do around. Yeah, and some people thought it was actually fucking legit, but yeah, that's the way it goes. But then I quit thinking it was funny to do that because people really were believing it, so I gave up on that kind of angle, right? It just kind of was a little theory I tested out with people. But, there's a sucker born every minute. You can have such a witty sarcasm that people don't catch it. It goes right over their head, right? Like for instance, today I was out at the beach. I live here on the Oregon coast, right on the Pacific Ocean. And of course, if you look on a United States map, there's an indention in Oregon that's, it's the furthest west you can get on the continental U.S. line. So that's where I live. I was filming a video out there and, I'm like, yeah, gosh, I'll tell you, really, I'm just sick of this. I'm jealous of those people in the Midwest that, nothing but flat roads for days and days and days and nothing but white line fever, right? And nothing but cornfields as far as you can see. And I said, gosh, I sure would have loved to grow up there where I didn't have to have a hill every corner, riding my bicycle. I could have rode miles on a flat land, because my dad grew up there till he was 12 years old and moved out here in 1959. And, I wasn't even sure that I was surprised to find out that they had bicycles back then. But so that would have been the only thing cool about it. But I was like, man, I would love it. I hate being by the ocean. It's so old and so it really bothers me. And though you're so lucky to live in the Midwest and never have to see an ocean, it's nice and landlocked and it's nice and safe and secure. Nothing but flat roads, nothing but flatness forever and ever and ever and ever, like for days and days of driving. And I'm sure my guess would be I'm sure that a lot of people bought into that. I posted that and now, yeah, the flatland, oh, it'd be wonderful to live there. I'm sure people believed it. But, then again, too, I've told some of these people that live in the Midwest that, I haven't been out to the beach. It's about a 10-minute, 15-minute drive. I could go any day I wanted to, but I haven't been out there I haven't been out there since December of 2018, really, to any of them. And they're, why? I've been out there every day. I said, well, first of all, I've lived here my whole fucking life. I lived 24 years of it within viewing distance of it, okay? Like a kilometer away, which is about about 3/4 of a mile, and it's cold. Right, any time of year you might be out there up here in Oregon. I have to explain to them, this isn't California, this isn't Baywatch, this isn't like this isn't like Central California and Southern and past that. I said, you get up to about the northern part of California, it's fucking cold on these beaches, man. And the wind is a motherfucker too, even on a summer day, it's cold. I've seen it a million times, right? So I've seen it a million times. That's one. There's some beautiful trails there. They're bliss, but I'd be out there every day. Yeah, sure you would, for a while until life took over and you had other things going on, right? So, but then again, too, I'm not an idiot. Of course, I would miss the hell out of it if I left it. It's home. It's right there. I take it for granted, but I don't, it's there and I'm appreciative of it, but I'm not out there every day in the freezing cold. It's not, you have to basically dress up like an Eskimo except for a few days a year to go out to one of them. Really, because what happens is even on a nice day up here, we get that cold Aleutian Alaskan island wind that blows down. Blows right down off the Alaska, somewhere out of there. And it's frozen. It's freezing, man. It's a freezing wind. It's not like when you start to get down to about Central California, you start getting into more of that Southern Pacific wind, right? Or that Southern Pacific breeze that blows off the tropics. Okay? But, you start getting up towards San Francisco and more north, especially towards Crescent City, the Redwoods, Eureka, all that shit. Yeah, it's cold, man. They're beautiful beaches, granted. They're gorgeous. All the way up to the Canadian border, and I'm sure into British Columbia. I know that Oregon and Washington's are, right? They're gorgeous, of course. And Northern California is beautiful as hell. But, what are you going to do out there every day, all day? You can take pictures, but you can only take so many motherfucking pictures, right? So I tell them, look, I've seen it my whole life. Would you go out, run through the cornfields every day? Well, I've lived around it my whole life. Well, yeah, but if I saw them and was back there, or if I saw fireflies, right? I've never saw a lightning bug in real life, okay? So I would think, wow, man, these are really cool if I went back there for a while, because I've never been around them in real life, or I've never gotten to run through cornfields, miles and miles of them, as tall as the body can be and taller. So I would think that was cool for a while, not much, maybe at my age once or twice. So yeah, but I've had people downright get mad at me about not going out to the beach every day or something, or like that I haven't been in all those years. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I understand, it's cool, but it ain't, this isn't Baywatch, right? And even on a beach like Baywatch, why would you think that would be attractive? There's 100,000 people on a beach, man, with, and you got a blanket to lay there surrounded around people. Really, come on, man. Seriously? Fuck. Yeah, I don't think so. It's just not, it's not conducive. I think people get more in love with the idea of it. Yeah, sure, in the perfect setting, a nice California or Hawaiian beach with, not many people there, all the right equipment, all the right gear, it'd be great. But it gets cold there, man. And some people love the cold wind up here. It gets cold. Some people love that, but it's just, it's not what it is. There's like 3 or 4 days out there, even in the summer, where you don't need to have a coat on because the wind will pick up really hardcore and fast, blowing up from Alaska, and it's not exactly the tropics up in the Bering Strait. So, that's just what it is, man. And one thing I wanted to also touch on, this really won't apply to people listening to on TikTok, but pages. if you know, as far as Facebook pages go, one thing I've learned over the years is that like some little pieces of advice I could give people, and it blows me the fuck away, the people that have pages that are serious about their page that have no idea about these things I'm going to mention. They have no idea that when so somebody, you post something on your page and you get people that like it, right? And then you go to that section where they've liked it, you see who's all liked it. Well, when you're an admin, what you'll also see is in the column next to them, it'll say following, invited, or invite. If it says invite, it'll be highlighted, right? And you want, oh yeah, I'm going to invite them to like your page. Okay, fine, you do that, right? That doesn't invite them. One time, it won't do it. You have to go out of there, you have to hit that invite. You have to go back to where you were out of that particular tab. You can't refresh it. You go out of there, back to where the main post is, right? And then you go back in, guess what? It's going to say invite again. You have to hit it twice. And, you can prove that by doing it twice, then going back out and coming back in, and it won't be highlighted like it was. But it surprises me how many people are asleep at the wheel. And I'm the dumbest motherfucker you could ever imagine. I'm unobservant. I really am, people. I'm slow. I'm not very quick-witted. I catch on to shit really slowly. Terrible. But that's something that I figured right away, right? Things like that. And also too, when you have a page, you're kind of at the mercy of groups as well, like posting stuff in groups so you can get recognized by people, right? They can see your stuff. So you got to be careful what you post in certain people's groups because you're at their mercy, right? And if they think, even if you post something that's worthwhile and popular, right, there are a lot of jealous people out there that will get rid of it just because you had a shitload of likes on it, right, or a shitload of traffic on it, comments, right? I'm not talking about people that post bullshit and that just continue to post nonsense in there, right, the same old, I'm talking about people that post something good and that a lot of people just love, right? You got to be careful because people will get jealous and then, they'll block you out of that group. So you're kind of a little bit at the mercy of groups. You got to finagle your way around that. A little showmanship, a little decorum in order, a little friendly decorum with people, right? Building the rapport, okay? Because a page can be a wonderful thing versus a group. Groups are a dime a dozen. I mean, so can pages, but groups are really a dime a dozen. A page, if you know how to really work a page good, and it's the right content, you can build up quite a following with one. And again, but, until you get to a certain threshold, then once you get to a certain threshold, you're not so much at the mercy of groups anymore. Right, but again, the thing that kills me is the invites, and some people don't even think to invite people. They don't even think to, when it says it right there. So it's like, what are you doing? Why are you, why are you even posting? Why do you have one even? I don't know. It's kind of one of them things where little things in life kind of blow my mind. It takes a lot to really blow my mind. Because I've seen quite a bit, but it's little shit like that I can't understand because these are people smarter than I am. And they don't get it or know it, right? Or they don't know that you were being sarcastic with them or, having a little bit of sense of humor. And they think it's not that they think you're being rude, right, per se, but they think you're being serious. Oh, yeah, that was really wonderful. And they're like, oh, yeah. Then they believe it. And how, what else can you do? I mean, just go along with it, man. All you can do is roll with the punches and, and as long as you're not hurting anybody by having a little fun like that, it's fine. You want to create certain characters that are going to come in and post shit, with a funny name or a funny occupation, and everybody goes for it. Fine, no harm, no foul, right? It happens, but I just thought I'd come in on and rant a little bit about that. The scammers, I'll market your stuff for you. Send me a copy of it. Yeah, I'm at your house, but drive me to your house. Okay, let's get in the car and, oh wait, fuck, we're here already. Yeah. Here's another great one going on. And dude, somebody really that I thought was enlightened tried to get me in on this motherfucker. This casino shit. There's this casino scam, and I wish I would have thought about it before I came on here. There's this casino scam where you write letters to casinos. Oh yeah, you get money for writing letters to casinos. Yeah. But it's got to fit a certain decorum. You got to do a certain amount, and and then there's shit wrong with it too, like why you would, well, if you got to do this, why wouldn't you just do that? Why would they want it like this? You know what I mean? You ask yourself, it's the little shit. It's really never the big overall picture with anything. It's never the ending or the beginning. It's always the meat's always in the middle, right? It's always that from B to Y, not A to Z. It's that B to Y where it usually is at, right? The rest of it, the beginning and the ending, are really just semantics, right? Although, how I used to do my book reports when I was in grade school, the books all we had to do was like a paragraph, 5 sentences to do a book report back then. But I would look on the back of a book, and it would give me a synopsis of what the book was about, and I would just reword that and write it. A lot of times the teachers caught it because, of course, I'm sure they'd seen that scam coming, or that bullshit coming a mile away, right? But sometimes I'd do it and reword the words and just deny it, and nothing they could do about it. I never really had. But if any of them would have wanted to question me about anything in the book, I'd have been like, "Fuck, I don't remember." Well, what about this? Well, I didn't read that part either. So. It happens. Life is life, but you can't, be mad at these people because there's a sucker born every minute, just like with Amway. And it's always the same sales pitch, or a timeshare. Oh, timeshares. People, I love timeshares. There's another one. Timeshares in vacation places. Oh, yeah. Aren't those are just wonderful, man. You pay a shitload of money. You can only have it a certain time of year. It's got. You see, this is the thing about timeshares, though. If you go to the same place every year, every time, it's a good thing. If you want any variation, you're kind of at the mercy of the timeshare company. You can will those to your next of kin, but the whole concept is a scam, right? But it's just that if you are simple and you just want to go to the same place every year and do the same thing, then it really isn't a problem, right? If you get the same time off every year, not a problem. But if your vacation time changes, or there's any little variation, you want to go to somewhere different, you've got to work that in too, right? The best bet would be to, if that's not what if you want to go somewhere different every year, you probably ought to just take a vacation and fucking go there, right? That would be the simple explanation. But like I said, my ex mother-in-law has one, and she will be willing them to her daughter and stuff like that. And she has a good thing going on because she's paid it off like her whole life, and she only goes to the one place all the time, the place called Depot Bay, and only for a certain time of year, up below several hours north of me on the Oregon coast, up in northern Oregon. Yeah, it works out great for her. It's one of them places. It's a one-horse town though, but it's right on the beach, and the place she stays at is right on the beach, so it works great for her. It's nice, works perfect for her. But the majority of people, if there's any kind of variation, plus she's retired, and when she worked, she had a good job, so she could get the same time off every year pretty much, right? And she worked for the Safe Corporation. And so it worked for her. But if you have any variation on where you want to go, it's a little bit different. It's tricky, right? But there are some good things with it. You can rent a motorhome, I guess. People want to go, motorhome across the country and all that. I would rather not. If I had the option of either the option, and it's going to have to be like one of these $200,000 motorhomes, and I had a lot of money, or I could just get a nice comfortable car and stay at roadside motels along the way. That's personally what I would do, instead of maneuvering one of those big motherfuckers through a big city, on the freeway, even as you're going past or bypassing one of these huge metropolitan cities, right? But that's just me. There are conveniences to the motorhome thing, right? You can pull off to the side of the road, although it's something that big and, like a luxury liner, like, I don't know if you were ever a football fan, John Madden was an announcer. He didn't fly, he was afraid to fly, but it was well documented, and they show his trailer, his horse trailer, and his big old, bus-sized motorhome that would, take him a week to get to the next destination. So, and that's what he would do. He'd ride in one of those, right? If you were going to try to maneuver one of those around everywhere, that just wouldn't be me. I don't really like, fucking with vehicles that big. I wouldn't have been a good truck driver. God love these people. I know some truck drivers that could back a semi into, down a narrow alley with literally inches to spare on each side, literally, right? And do it like it was nothing. We need those kind of people. That ain't me. I can't do that shit, right? I no way. I might be able to drive a motorhome on a clear highway down the road, if somebody needed it driven across town, right? Yeah, okay, yeah, fine. But other than that, no, it's not my thing. I'd rather have a nice, comfortable car. You can get in and out, whiz in and out, and you can, if all else fails, you can hit up a roadside motel on the side of the road somewhere and stay the night, right? But that's me. Some people like that. They can be in their own space, I guess, or they want to call it that every night, but they're going to have to find somewhere to park it and, all that shit and maneuver, fuck around a city you might not be familiar with, so. But that's just me. I'm, Mr. Excitement. I like a good cheese pizza with, crushed red peppers, Tabasco, and salt and pepper. That's about as exciting as I get. I'm a vegetarian, so that's about what I do. I'm a vegetarian that can't stand eggs, mushrooms, onions, or tomatoes. I hate them all. But I'm a vegetarian. So you can imagine the quandary I'm in, right? But I'm autistic as well, as if anybody couldn't tell. Diagnosed autistic. So textures with shit fuck with me, right? I like making omelets for people. I would make them for my kids all the time and, girlfriends I've had. But yeah, I can't stand the stench of them. I can't stand the texture of them. I just can't. They have no flavor I just don't do it. I can't stand it to me. Now, I don't mind a cherry tomato on a salad. Those I can deal with, but onions are, they mess with my stomach. Plus, I think they're an absolute meal killer to me. And mushrooms, I just can't stand them at all. Yeah, I can't do it, and I know they're good for you. In fact, I'm drinking this mushroom coffee though right now. It's kind of helping me, so that's really been enjoyable. But yeah, I can't stand them to eat. So it is, yeah, isn't that funny? A vegetarian that hates all those things. Well, it's true. It is true. But that's just my life and how it goes. So as you can, my palate is real broadened. As you can quite imagine, right? So anyway, I appreciate everybody. I love everybody on TikTok. Love everybody Facebook, Pleiadian Angelic Rainbow Orbs page. You can catch me back here on TikTok tomorrow if you want to hear the audio broadcast. The video broadcast of it will be on YouTube at Pleiadian Express Productions. I'll be with my co-host Carolyn Lanier Roberts down in San Antonio, Texas. We're praying for San Antonio because of the floods. Her and her husband are working on a song called It Never Rains in San Antonio, Texas. But man, it floods. That's a take on an old It Never Rains in Southern California song. Anyway, so we'll be doing a show on emotional healing on the Conscious Conversations show. So other than that, man, everybody have a good day, be safe, and get through till the weekend, and I'll holler at you in a minute. If I can click out of here. Here's my thing, man. Okay, I'm ended now. Goodbye, TikTok. Hip hop, bit bop, and it don't stop, and it won't stop. Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure.